we're going to go really quickly but carefully for the next 2 miles. And that's because it was an active shooting range.
This week, it's a That Car Show crew show, and the gang's all here. Dan survived an off-road trip across the damn desert from LA to Las Vegas, only to be held captive in a dark tunnel and tortured by one of Elon Musk's foot soldiers. Lindsay pitches some two-car solutions that somehow don't involve a Pontiac Aztek, and I'm still mad about losing car bingo back in 1986. What does peak Ford mean to you? I bet you'll never guess where we end up, and no, it's not 1908. Do us a favor and make sure that you are subscribed to That Car Show on your favorite platform, and take a minute to leave a rating and a review. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, it's That Car Show. That Car Show is brought to you by Sheffield Watches. Sheffield is the storied watchmaking brand that was revived a couple of years back by our good friend Jay Turkbus, and it's seen wild success in both the car and watch enthusiast communities. Sheffield offers a wide selection of watches, many inspired by the iconic designs of its 1960s dive models, most notably the one that Jay's parents gave him in 1970, which ignited his lifelong passion for watches. Sheffield watches are high quality, reasonably priced, and a great value. Sheffield has truly become the car guy and car gal's watch of choice. Order your Sheffield watch at sheffieldwatches.com. Give them a follow on the gram at Sheffield_allsport_watches and tell them That Car Show sent you.
Well, welcome back to That Car Show. I'm Lindsay, and this week the gang is all back together.
Yes.
Both of the guys are with me, Ryan and Dan. Hi, guys. How are you?
It's good to see you. Just back from my shift at Best Buy.
I haven't done any stunts at any movies and stuff, so I feel like I might be letting you guys down tonight.
Yeah.
But a good show last week.
Thanks. Robert's
Thank
great,
you.
huh?
Yeah. But I feel like you were out doing your best impression of a stunt driver because you had a pretty interesting road to SEMA, which I also want to hear about. But can you tell us a little bit about the very adventurous, very exciting route that you took to get to this very unique event?
Yeah, so we went to SEMA the hard way, and I say the hard way and I say we. I was actually a passenger princess for the journey, so I didn't actually drive, but I was kind of in a leadership role. But SEMA obviously is the world's biggest automotive trade show. Takes place once a year in our favorite place, Vegas. And we organized a rally where we decided that we would go to SEMA but not do tarmac. So
Not at all.
Well, I think we traveled 200 miles, of which probably about 30 miles were tarmac.
It's pretty
Yeah,
good.
that counts as no tarmac for sure.
Yeah, and if you think about it, it was long days. It was like 9-10 hour days in the desert.
Wow.
So
For what
it
is
was
normally like a 4-hour, 5-hour
4
drive.
hours. Yeah. So we met in Palm Springs. We had 27 rigs of different kinds and types. And there was everything from the folks that have got, all the setup to people in stock Defenders and Lexuses. Are there Lexuses or Lexi?
We're going to go with Lexi here at That Car Show.
Lexi. That's right. It's official.
Yeah.
So we had a great tour guide, a guy called Martin. He'd done the route the week before. So he knew what to expect, but none of us did. We set off from Palm Springs. We ventured out to this track, and he said to us, we're going to go really quickly but carefully for the next sort of 2 miles. And that's because it was an active shooting range. So either side of the track, people are allowed to shoot their guns. So we were safe, but it was interesting.
That's a pretty wild lead-in where he's like, nothing to be alarmed, just with a quickness.
Nothing to see here, move along.
Yeah.
Right.
So then we got
That's one way to light a fire under your butts, right?
Definitely.
Don't mind the live ammo. Carry on.
Definitely something that we wanted to get through. But then everyone aired down. So we took this very seriously in terms of, down to 20 PSI, convoying. We all had rugged radios. So Rugged Radios had sponsored it and given us radios. So the whole convoy was, talking to each other as we were kind of taking this trip. I was a passenger in a modified F-150, so almost like a pre-runner trophy truck type thing.
Oh, okay.
But it was, a lot of fun, a lot of camaraderie. we spent the end of day one or stayed overnight at Auto Camp in Joshua Tree. So if you're not aware, this is and I think there's a few of them around the US, but it's Airstreams.
Oh, how fun.
So you will
So
get
it's-
allocated your Airstream.
So it's a bit of glamping
Yeah,
after
exactly
your
that.
off-roading.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for a Four Seasons, but sadly that didn't turn out. So yeah, we were glamping for the night. Each caravan had its own fire pit. But it kind of felt well deserved after day one. And
Right.
then day two, we had to be on the track at 7 a.m. That was the only way we would get to Vegas before sunset.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so another day of off-roading, tighter trails. There were a couple of trails that were just completely open and we were able to just go for it. In the middle of the trip, we got to this like farm, and it was an active farm that did like animal feed.
Okay.
But in essence, you had like a number of massive green circles, which is where they were irrigating and watering.
Yeah.
But this was it was like coming across an oasis.
Yeah.
Like it was just unbelievable.
How
And
does
we were
that
very
work?
careful.
It was a
I guess there
farm-shaped
must be-
oasis.
A farm-shaped oasis, but it was just like the aerial views of this is desert,
Sure,
and just these green patches, but big patches.
Yeah.
And then eventually we rolled into SEMA in time, which was great. But the valet looks were like, what have you guys brought?
Right. You're
Like
expecting
Mad
us to
Max
deal with
rolling
this.
in, yeah.
Yeah. So that was our adventure pre-SEMA.
So can I interrupt real quick? Is this
Yeah.
something you enjoyed off-roading? I mean, you are traditionally sort of an on-road, a tarmac guy. Were you tempted by the taste of off-roading nuts and honey? I mean, is this maybe you didn't have that commercial in the UK, but is this something you could see doing yourself and pursuing again? Was this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
It's
Right on.
I think having a guide, it really makes it right.
Yeah,
It does.
So we had a really great guide, and Martin and the team kept us safe. There was various points where they would spot for us. There's one bit where we kind of got to this gully, and there was like a big, steep, sandy hill,
Yeah.
and they would basically coach each car through that. And what was interesting is the car that did the best in that specific thing, apart from the pre-runner,
Yeah.
was a stock Defender on Steelies.
Really?
So
Well, how
can-
timely.
that's right. You can share
They
that
are
story
very
with
good
people you
cars.
might be meeting, Lindsay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I was going to ask you, were there any standouts kind of one way or another? And so was it like a dune basically, like a sand dune?
Yeah, like a big steep sand hill. I guess that's a dune, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We call them sand hills in the UK. I don't know if that's formal or not, but I do.
That's not as foreboding. I don't know.
Yeah.
No. And there's definitely, I mean, nobody says my favorite movie was Sand Hill, but here we go.
Those are cranes. Come on, that's
Right.
bad. But you did the very best part about this was that you did it in someone else's vehicle, right? That's I think the best kind of off-roading is when you're off-roading in someone else's truck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like boats, isn't it?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. It's like a lot
Well,
of
and
things.
there really is, I was looking back through some of my like Defender off-roading footage today, and it really does make all the difference. Like I think you experienced, Dan, having a guide. It's just sort of this, because I don't know, have you done much off-roading before this?
A little bit, but nothing like in the UK is like green laning and things like that. So, which is is not really the same level of rugged terrain.
Is it as remote as you were on this trip?
I think different remotes, but yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
on this trip, our cell phones didn't work the whole time,
Really, how
That's
liberating.
how you know.
which was really nice, believe it or not.
It's a nice break, right?
Yeah.
The reason I
like
ask if you enjoyed it is I've done a couple of these adventures, right? These organized things, and I absolutely love it. Right? It's a slower pace. It's
Yeah.
I don't know. I always come back from these things thinking, well, I'm going to go buy a Land Rover or a 4Runner or something. Of course, I never do because real life. But
Right.
I absolutely could see getting into it, and I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed it too.
I think the one thing for me is you develop more of a camaraderie. So, imagine if you're doing a track session or you're doing a rally, you're not going to get to that same level of camaraderie because you haven't overcome these things together.
Right.
What was the strangest thing you saw out in the desert? See any UFOs or anything?
Well, I think it was that Oasis, like just coming
just
across this
bizarre.
Oasis.
Yeah.
And then we had to like go around it respectfully. So we slowed down and we took a right, but it's just really surreal. Like the greenest, whatever it was, the greenest you've ever seen. So you've got all this like gray, sandy and then just green, bright green.
Yeah.
No
Seems like there are
crop
better
circles
places
now?
for that, deserts, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They must be doing something right if they're still in business.
Yeah.
You know?
They were just trying to make you feel at home. They're like, we need some crop circles for Dan, and so we're going to put a farm here.
Are those still a thing, crop circles? Like, it's all you
No,
heard
I
about
don't
there okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
it was
bit of a
people
problem.
doing it, wasn't it? It was people
think
messing
so.
with people.
I think so.
That's what they ultimately believe. That was the final answer for now until we hear otherwise. But
Yeah.
yeah, so is that? I wonder if it's like artisan animal feed, and they're like, right, but was this grown in the deserts of Nevada? Was this from the Oasis farm? Because that is all that my dogs will eat. Come on.
Yeah.
The only thing
That
I
sounds like
ate
a
that whole stretch was a date shake. Right.
That's pretty wild. But okay, so Defenders and the pre-runner trophy truck, those were the winners.
Yeah, and the Jeeps did really well. There was like 392 Jeeps. Is it 392?
Nice. I think so.
It's the ones with the Hemi engines where they're like, this is the last version of it. And then they go, and here's a new last version of it, right?
Right.
But they did very well as well. If you've got anything that you can unlock the sway bar, you can go down to low, you can crawl across these rocks, you're going to do really well.
Yeah, not a lot of Tiguan's in that crew, huh?
I didn't see any. I think there was a couple of like wrecks on the side of the Tiguan's that never made it.
Skeletons intact.
Vaguely resembled a Tiguan that had attempted going to SEMA the hard way. Well, I love the name of the rally. Like that in itself puts a smile on your face, and you're in for a good time. Okay, so you had this epic adventure to then kick off yet another epic adventure of a very different sort. So what did you think of SEMA? Like, tell us everything.
My mind was blown. So
In a word?
have you both been to SEMA?
Yeah.
I have not.
Okay. You've
Ryan.
been, Ryan?
Yeah, I went a couple of years ago. We, at the time, was doing the steering committee, and we had a sponsor, Swiss Tracks. And we thought we had won the lottery when they said, here, take our passes, our exhibitor passes to go to SEMA.
Oh, wow.
But, I, in retrospect, I know why they were probably so ready to give them up. But I think for me, what colored my experience was sort of the event before the event. We somehow got diverted to Phoenix, Sky Harbor Airport, which I think might be the worst airport in the continental U.S. And then we had to find a rental car along with the rest of the airport when all the flights were delayed or canceled for some reason, and then drive. So it was already like dark out. And then we had to find a rental car, then drive to Vegas. And we got a late start because we had to wait 3 or 4 hours before our Pelican cases came down on the carousels. And if you've ever stood and stared at a luggage carousel for any length of time, it's hypnotic, especially after 3 hours. And eventually, they appeared. We got into the world's stinkiest rental car. I don't know if you've ever rented a car from like one of those cheaper rental outfits, like $1 or a Fox or Thrifty, Well, this was from one of those. So the car had almost certainly like transported a dead body at some point in time. It just
Or
maybe more than
multiple
once.
bodies.
Yeah, to dispose of in that desert. So I will admit that by the time we finally got to SEMA, I at least was cranky and tired. And the last thing I needed was, hotel room with, the drifting 24/7 and the. Dan, I if this was my impression. I felt like I was at a party where I didn't know anyone. Right. It was overwhelming. There was too much. I didn't really speak the language for the most part. Certainly there was some crossover, but I just didn't really feel like it's kind of like Vegas, right? You're a Vegas person or you're not a Vegas person, and I think SEMA's kind of the same way. And I don't think I'm a SEMA person at heart. That said, we did have some fun. We did the boring tunnel, which I think you did as well, which I appreciate only for like the relative calm and solace of being in a Tesla, in a cave beneath Vegas. But
Peace.
it's one of those like maybe every 5-year things for me, if that. I don't know.
It was.
What are your thoughts?
I didn't get any solace in the Tesla because the lady in front thought she was auditioning for The Voice. So
Oh, Lord, you're trapped.
I was trapped in a tunnel with a lady who was singing some sort of thing that represented music, and I literally had no way to escape. So that was my traumatic, boring tunnel experience.
Well, okay, so for those who don't know, which I am one of those, because you get in line to get in the cars and they just pair you with whoever you're in line with? Because
Well,
how
it's
did you end up
interesting.
with,
Yeah.
the next
So
opera singer?
Elon has built a tunnel network underneath Vegas
Right.
as part of his boring company.
Is it a network, Dan, or is it a tunnel?
I think
we
it's a
being
network
generous here?
because
Is it a network?
no,
Okay.
because they're opening up. I think in 2 months' time they're opening up the airport, so the airport will go straight downtown.
Okay.
So I would class that as a network.
Well, the airport is kind of downtown.
Shall we say it's a
right there.
a budding network?
A budding network.
A growing network of tunnels?
And Dan, if I recall, you kind of have to take it because there aren't a lot of options, right, to get from like one end to the other, right? The conference center.
Yeah, I mean you can walk, like is your other option, but it's interesting because they haven't quite yet got the autonomy. So at the moment it's drivers, and then when you go in the tunnel, you don't realize it as a passenger, but it's all lit with special lighting, and the lighting is giving the driver signals. So if the lighting goes red, slow down. If the lighting goes green, speed up. So you're oblivious to it initially, but I started talking to a different lady who wasn't singing like a banshee, and she was explaining what all these lights meant in the tunnels.
Interesting. Okay.
Like it's not just for show?
No, it's not just there for your entertainment. It was, yeah.
Well, maybe be glad you had singing because I kept waiting for something to happen. Like it was like a dark ride at an amusement park. I kept waiting for something like jump out, some
boring tunnel
characters to
jump
dance
scare?
or something. Yeah. Like it kind of was. I mean, I guess the name kind of says it all. Thought it was a little boring
tunnel.
but
Yeah,
interesting.
but the size of the show, you can't comprehend how big. It's almost like an airport, like a big airport, and there's outside and inside. So big convention halls inside,
Right.
and then there's at least 2 tracks with continuous rubber being burnt. So people are either doing, drift examples, or like there was just so much going on. I probably did about 18,000 steps a day. So my feet were absolutely, shot to
Wrecked.
pieces.
Yeah.
A few highlights though. Subaru did reveal the new Gymkhana car.
Oh.
So Travis Pastrana has been in Australia. It was a bit of a badly kept secret because I ended up being with Travis a few months ago, and he said, "Yeah, I'm about to film this Gymkhana." And I said, "Oh, where is it?" And he went, "I can't tell you." And then about 10 minutes later, he bumped into a buddy of his who he'd worked with on Gymkhanas. And just when they finished talking to each other, this guy said to Travis, "I'll see you in Australia then." So that was
out of the
giveaway.
bag.
But it's a Subaru Brat.
I love it.
So I think the video goes live in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
That's
That's
pretty
cool.
fun.
That's good. So that gets me excited, right?
Yeah.
I like that.
So that was revealed.
Nice.
The Hoonigan folks had a big courtyard with, I think Hoonigan is now part of a wider company that does all sorts from wheels to suspension.
Okay.
So under the umbrella Hoonigan, they had all the different sections. Leah Block had her GR Corolla. Incidentally, Ryan, are you missing yours?
I think I've thought about it daily, honestly. And I'm actually writing an article for Autoblog about it now, tentatively titled, "Can an Old Man GR Corolla?"
You need to
Does
go
it fit in?
dot. They're great.
Right.
Well, I also have an asterisk because, I'm not quite ready to join that
Right.
category, that demographic. No, that was fantastic. It was a fantastic car. But
So
now I want to
Leah's
go
car
drive the
was
Type
there.
R Civic and all its competition. So sorry. go
Yeah.
ahead.
So Leah's car was there. She's modifying a GR Corolla.
Nice.
Right.
Nice.
Saw a couple of the Ken Block cars. So the 43 Institute were there, which is great. They do great work. They're obviously a charity in Ken's name. And then you just go through different halls with different It's a bit geeky, so if you're not really into the trade stuff,
That's
so there's a
what it
whole
is.
haul on tires.
Yeah.
And all it is different tire companies. And they might have a show car or two, which is pretty cool, but then they've got the machines for fitting the tires. Another haul for detailers. So your
wow.
griots, all those sorts of folks have got different stands.
Yeah. So
I remember.
you can really dive deep in whatever your area of interest is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like very granular, it sounds like.
I remember
Yeah,
going
very-
into some of these halls though, and just praying that no one would come up to me and like want to like speak the language with me.
Scan your
Right?
badge.
Yeah.
They want to scan your badge.
Right. Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
There
Do they get
weren't
points? What do
many
they do? They level
manufacturers.
up if they. What's that all about?
You just get spam.
Oh, okay.
So they email
Okay.
you after if they've scanned your badge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there weren't many manufacturers there, but there was a big Toyota presence.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. They launched the new RAV4 GR edition, which doesn't
Wait.
have it's not a fully blown
Okay.
GR. So I think they call it GR edition or something. So in essence, it's a RAV4. It's got Corolla suspension on it, I believe, but no change in the engine. But it's got like a little spoiler at the back.
Okay.
Like you need to look it up. But it was a cool car. Yeah, it was the official launch, I think. So
The spoiler, that's how you know it's good.
that's right. It obviously needs the downforce being a SUV with a ride height and a
Right.
Hey, if it was good
can't
enough
imagine.
for was it the Mitsubishi Pajero or whatever? Right.
Yeah.
It's good enough for the RAV4 GR.
so.
That's true.
I think you're right. It's like Vegas. You don't want to go every year.
Yeah. What is it about Vegas? I mean, it's like the strip club of cities, right? You just feel like you're just getting like scammed at every, corner.
You have to be on guard.
Yeah, I work too hard for my money. And everyone says Vegas is like crazy, crazy expensive now, right? Like they tack on fees for this and for that. And, I don't know. Maybe it's fun when you're on the company dime, but just of all the places you can spend your time, Vegas is just not. You got to go once, right? You got to go once.
Right.
Do it right.
Yeah.
Because you can't explain it. Like you have to experience it, which it sounds like SEMA is a bit like that. Like you can't fully appreciate it unless you've experienced it yourself.
Yeah.
I think we can agree they both elicit very strong reactions. They're very polarizing. Like you said, Ryan, people either love them or hate them. And I think people say that about Vegas as well.
So the one thing I kept seeing on Instagram from like other car journalists and things and people who had maybe never been there before, maybe had been there 10 times, was they didn't really have anything to say to like illustrate their photos. So the phrase I saw over and over again was, well, SEMA's a wrap.
So there wasn't any that's not typical of SEMA.
no.
So I wonder if it was just this year.
Another SEMA
Usually
in the
they're like,
books.
well, we saw XYZ or this was notable or
There were good builds.
Yeah.
That's the other thing SEMA's famous for, right? The builds.
They're
right.
far apart. It's not like all the builds are in one place, if I
No.
recall, right? So you kind of have to, it's kind of a scavenger hunt to find the good stuff, right? And, it's...
It's the SEMA scavenger hunt. So Dan, did you get a chance to check out some of the builds and what did you see and what were your thoughts?
Yeah, there was all sorts of crazy builds. So one was a lowered Hummer. I think it had 6 wheels, but it was almost
Okay.
like a dragster Hummer.
Okay.
The one that I really liked was they did an F40 and completely modernized the F40, and that looked really, really cool.
Nice.
So that was probably my highlight.
And you were into it.
Yeah.
So which Hummer model did they modify?
It was like a civilian H3. Is that the...
Okay.
Yeah,
It would've
that's
been
the tiny one.
right?
Yeah, this thing was tiny.
Oh,
but
Yeah,
it
so
was
that would
then
be
there was
the
the
H3.
H3. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
What an interesting choice to do that too. So it was like slammed.
really slammed. Like it almost looked like a dragster.
Yeah.
It was super weird. Super weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were smoking when they created that. It was...
Any RWB Porsches or Liberty Walk cars? Of
and I
any
think didn't I send you a picture? There was a golf coloured RWB. And then
Ryan's
next
favorite.
to that was Jorge's friend, our friend Jorge from Tormented Tarmac.
Yeah.
His friend has got a violet 355 convertible.
Nice.
Ooh.
Nice.
So that was beautiful.
Violet. And what did you think of it in that color?
I loved it. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah.
And did you see this is how little I know about SEMA actually. So I have to go so I can learn about it. But I don't know if they do the big trucks every year, the like really over the top.
Yes. No, they did. There was a
Okay.
whole line of them, and some of them were like, yeah, you were just looking at their navels, right? It's just
Yeah, that's what has always struck me in the pictures is like not only are they just outrageous builds in general, but the height. They're all
yeah,
raised up so high.
crazy.
Lindsay, I'm
what
sorry. What is above your shoulder there? I see something. If you're watching this, maybe you see it too.
it
Just
is
noticed.
it's a fabulous new sign
I
that
like that.
our friend of the show, Tori, made happen. So it's
That's
a
excellent.
sign of our logo
That's
with all of
excellent.
us.
That's excellent. Right now, I'm only seeing Dan's head, but I'm
Right.
sure the
It's
rest
just
of
Dan and I right
rest
now.
of us are on
There we
it.
go. You got the best side
Love it. Love
Exactly.
it.
Dan's not always with us, so now he's with us
That's
twice right now
That's
tonight.
right. That's
in
right.
spirit.
That's right.
Looks very cool though.
Yeah.
It is.
It
It is.
turned out really well. It's super fun and yeah, did a little remodeling of the studio and that was one of the first pieces to go up. So,
Nice.
yeah, it's
And they will be available on our Amazon store just in
That's
time
right.
for the holidays.
that's right. They're at the top of everyone's gift lists,
That's right.
obviously. We love it. Well, I think bottom line, I have to go to SEMA next year so that we've all been. I
Take
will.
one for the team.
I was going to say I will take one for the team. Dan's off the hook. Ryan doesn't have to go again yet.
Well, now they're not going to let me back. That's the
Right.
Yeah.
No, you have to pitch it as like, listen, my first experience was not as you'd hope. So I'd like to come back and let's try again.
And this was the first year they actually let like civilians in, right? Like that was the other thing about this year. So I wonder if that, changed things.
They
maybe
were
a
sort of
little.
finding their rhythm or whatever.
Yeah. Huh.
I think that was part of it because I would always see the pictures before, but it was like you said, it was sort of a very closed set for a long time.
Yeah.
You had to.
I wonder how that'll change things, but
I know. Well, I will go check it out next year and let you know, and we'll see. But Ryan, it sounds like you are going to have a pretty interesting. Speaking of roads to events, you're going to have an interesting trip on your way to Thanksgiving. So, can you share about the chariot that you'll be enjoying?
well, because we're crazy, we drive to most holidays, family things, right? And so we'll be driving from Denver to Wisconsin this year. Please don't break into my house. We have a very advanced security system and a dog,
Right. Yeah.
who will be in a kennel. But anyway, we're driving from Denver to Milwaukee in a Genesis, a GV70. It's the 3.5, so it's the 6-cylinder. It's a 3.5 turbo. Genesis has very generously allowed me to do that. And you guys know this, but oftentimes when you get a press car, you're sort of unspoken, but you're limited to 500 miles. So to put like 2,500 miles on a car is really very good of them. And so I will report back. I really like the G90 sedan, the big, massage seats, four-position massage seats and everything else car. I don't know if this will be quite to that level, but it should be fun and looking forward to it. So I'm sure I'll have lots of things to say about it. And, it's certainly nicer than anything we would have ended up with from Hertz. So I'll tell you that.
Right.
And with flying and all that, we're kind of looking like the geniuses right now too, right? So instead of the cheapskates. So
No kidding.
report back. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty epic adventure.
Yeah, it should be good. But anyone listening, if you have any points of interest or like photo spots between Denver and Milwaukee, you think I should stop and take a picture of for the inevitable Autoblog article when I'm back.
That's true.
Please do. Fort Cody. Either of you heard of Fort Cody? It's this.
I have not.
It's this Old West themed. I don't know, roadside attraction somewhere in western Nebraska. That Buffalo Bill Cody, is that the guy? Anyway, it's this
Possibly.
It's this very old school like tourist trap where it looks like a stockade and then you go in and it's it's all like crap from China and candy and stuff, but we'll probably stop there.
Nice.
I think
Get
the world's
obligatory.
largest covered wagon is somewhere along the way, so maybe that's another stop. But anyone listening, any suggestions, please do let us know.
And we're going to start a GoFundMe, a GoFundMe page for Ryan's daughter, so we can get a Netflix subscription for her, so she doesn't have to go to all these attractions.
Kids
can
today are so spoiled. Let me tell you, I mean, we used to look forward to stops like that because, I mean, how many times can you play, car bingo with those little red, translucent
Right.
sliders, right?
Yeah.
We used to play license plate games, right? You
Oh
remember
yeah.
that? That was like the height of entertainment, when you were road tripping.
Wasn't there a beetle game? If you saw a beetle, you could punch your brother or
Oh,
sister.
Yeah, yeah.
punch buggy or slug bug.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
One headlight out, and that kind of thing. And
Oh,
so
that sounds like a more advanced version than we played.
it was more violent time.
Well, and I mean,
BB
when you talk about
guns.
the license plate game, when you
Charts.
had that little, cardboard thing with the
Yeah.
sliding red, that was
Yeah.
kind of an advanced, fancy version of that too, as opposed to just yelling out the state.
It's true, but like some of those cards were better than others. Do you remember this?
Oh yeah.
Like some you could not win on to save your life, right? It was highly specific stuff that So
We never had this, so I've got no idea what you guys are talking about right now.
Oh my god! Okay,
I'm
maybe
sure we
this
could
is a-
find one on eBay because
Yeah, yeah.
it was this little cardboard, like 8x11 or whatever piece of cardboard, kind of 2 layers, and it had the different states, and the whole intent was obviously to keep you busy on a road trip. But you're looking at the cars that you're passing, and as you'd see a state that you hadn't seen before, it had this thin red, like vellum almost or something, and you slide it to
a
cover.
little door almost. Yeah,
Yeah, with a little,
So you had one each.
yeah. Everyone had one, and you
Yeah.
just.
I mean, if your family was fancy, we just had one.
We also had one that was like roadside attraction. So like if you pass a church or whatever, but then some of the stuff was really subjective. Like
You're like,
is that a
"What?
hill or
Was
is that a mountain?"
building?"
Yeah, it's just, that just started arguments but
So this is where the family dynamics reveal, like the success of the game depended on your family dynamics. Like
then you're in
how
the back of a-
cantankerous is everybody?
well, that's it. You're already in the back of a 48 horsepower Volkswagen Dasher, right? And then you throw, automotive bingo on top of it. It's amazing any of us survived. So
Right. This feels oddly specific, but
I think this is a therapy session for Ryan. isn't it?
that's right. It always is.
that's the beauty of car people, right?
right.
Yes. Well, Dan, it sounds like you came back from SEMA, and then you got to experience something new at Universal Studios that it was, again, automotive themed, as is
Yeah, I
most of our
got to
lives.
watch. I didn't get to experience, unfortunately. So next year, there's a new ride coming to Universal Studios.
Yeah.
So I now being a resident in California, you can get a discounted season pass.
That's right.
So I thought I would get a discounted season pass and went yesterday. And they've got a new ride which is called Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift, I believe.
Okay.
And if you've been to Universal Studios, it's an interesting setup. It's like a multi-level piece of land. So the first part of the park is at a certain level, and then everything else you have to take either escalators or elevators down to the other part of the park. So it's on a multi-level, and then you've got all the sound stages, and you've got the Jaws experience and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, if you picture this, imagine these escalators that are going down, and it's multiple escalators. It's not one. You kind of go down one set, you walk along, go down the next set. Weaved in between these escalators is a roller coaster. And at the moment, they were just sending test mules around it, but next year it's going to be open, and the theme is Fast and Furious. So in essence, you're doing a roller coaster, and it's not a fixed roller coaster. So what I mean by that is it pivots on its center axis. So in essence, drifting.
Oh, the actual cars that you ride in
Yeah.
drift you through
drift.
the roller coaster.
And I believe there'll be different themed cars. They've only shown that in static images. These were all painted the same color, but so I think a team outing middle of 26
Absolutely.
to Universal Studio where we go do some drifting.
Evaluate the drifting.
Yeah. We need to meet up with our new buddy Robert Nagel, and he can ride with us, and then he can
There
critique
we go.
the technique of the roller coaster as it
Yeah.
drifts amongst
true.
the escalators. Yeah,
Well,
that sounds
and-
cool.
So that reminds me of something I was going to ask you about SEMA, Dan, because I know Ryan had shared that part of his experience was he had the, it sounds like it's like the Vegas version of Monaco, where instead of being right on top of the racetrack, he was right on top of the drifting in his hotel. So was that your experience too, Dan? Because we
It
had
wasn't, and I think that's because so Ryan, I think you're a Marriott guy, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
there was a
they get you
Marriott right
trapped,
next to the
Uh huh.
tracks.
Uh huh.
And luckily, I stayed in a place called the Westgate, which was kind of around the back, and
Okay.
it
Ah,
wasn't. But I think if I'd have stayed in the Marriott, I would have had that same experience.
Uh huh. Yeah. Yeah. It drove us to drink. I'll be honest.
I mean, any excuse. Come on.
Yeah.
I know. Well, we
That's gonna
weren't
happen anyway.
sure. Right. Yeah. It gave you good cover. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. Well, I'm glad that you did not have that experience, Dan, and maybe that explains a little bit also why your experience was more positive than Ryan's. And Ryan, now you know where to stay when you go back,
That's right.
so that you can have you can get yourself a break from the drifting without having to go into the boring tunnel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. Well, speaking of the boring tunnel, Tesla has started to do car rentals for $60 a day. So are they renting them? Do you guys know they're renting them directly to consumers? Are they giving them to car rental companies? Do we know?
Well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Speaking of Hertz.
Right? Yeah.
I saw an article in the New York Times, and apparently there's a wider issue going on right now where electric cars aren't selling.
Yeah.
Obviously, September was tariffs. So I don't know whether this is a longer term strategy, but Tesla have obviously got all this allocation of cars on their forecourts. So they've
Yeah.
actually made them available so you can rent them for $60 a day. So as an alternative to Hertz or those other folks. And it's interesting because I wonder if this is something where actually it will become a business model.
That Car Show is proud to partner with Drake Motorcars. Drake Motorcars is Denver's premier destination for exactly the kinds of vehicles that we like here at That Car Show. Think Velocity Broncos, Audi RS6s, Acura NSXs, and air-cooled Porsches. You can see their complete and constantly changing inventory at drakemotorcars.com and check out their amazing online reviews from all across the country. But our friends at Drake need your specialty car too. A sign of a good business is when there are more customers than inventory. So reach out to Drake too if you've got a great enthusiast car that just doesn't get driven like it used to. Find out more at drakemotorcars.com and let them know you heard about them on That Car Show. Yeah. Because it is the perfect rental car for most situations, unless you're driving across the country or something. It's that's what a Tesla's great for. You fly into LAX and get a Tesla and you go. And it's exactly the car you want when you drive around LA. And
you look like everybody else.
Yeah. I got in a lift last night. We had it's the Rocky Mountain Automotive Press had a gathering at Brews Beers, not too far.
Oh,
from me,
fun!
but I didn't want to drive, and so I got a lift. And I think I must have been the first passenger ever in this lift car. It was a brand new Tesla Model 3 with white seats, and I'm thinking. That's how I knew it was new.
Right.
Yeah, that's not
You
going
could
to
still
lie.
tell they were white.
No. And it was a pretty good experience. I hadn't been the last couple rental, Teslas I'd had were beaten. They had like 60,000 miles because I don't think they're replacing them. But this was a brand new Model 3. It was really, really nice. A great experience until the guy went the wrong way down a one-way street and everyone started honking at us, and I snapped to attention But a nice enough vehicle, but to your point, Dan, I think, everyone's hurting. And, I think we all saw this article about Polestar. Polestar just did a stock split to boost the value of the stock. And now the stock is at 22 cents. 22
And they
cents,
did
Vern. That's
a
nothing.
reverse stock split.
That's what
which
it
is
was.
Not the
Yeah.
way you want to go. That
Right.
is
That's what it was. That's what it was.
never
So,
a good sign.
go buy your Polestar stock while you can. I don't know, when our lease is up in July or whatever, what we're going to do, where we're going to go right from here, because we really like the thing. And I'll go to my grave saying that I think for most people in most places, an electric is the superior daily drivetrain. I just don't see us going back to an IC
Conventional.
car for daily duties. Yeah, so I don't know where we'll go from here.
Well, and this
Can
is
I-
your family's first EV, correct?
It is, yeah.
Can I just say that That Car Show are not financial experts, and no advice should be taken on stocks to buy or sell
Right.
with our insight, please.
You could buy thousands of shares and feel,
But what if it goes to 11 cents?
but
Yeah.
it's
Well, it's not, I mean, I don't know off the top of my head if there has been a company that has been
Well,
saved by a reverse stock split,
yeah,
but it
yeah.
is, they don't do that without being under duress a bit. And
No,
it's
no, writing's on the wall, and it's too bad because it's a great product. I really do believe it's a great product. The Polestar 2 that we have was built in China, and so obviously we know how that's all playing out and why they stopped selling them. But of course, there's the Model 3, and I don't want to call it the Model 3, but the Polestar 3 rather, and then the 4, and I think a 5. So I mean, they have great products in the pipeline, and I think Polestar's a fantastic alternative if you would. If you'd be driving a Volvo, but you want to drive electric, right? I mean, you're not a Tesla person, right? I think a Polestar is
Yeah.
a great car. So, it'll be really kind of sad if they go away in the U.S. I think
right.
they'll continue to be sold elsewhere in the country, but I don't know.
Didn't you write an article about? So they're one of the only companies that are doing a roadster. So maybe that gets shelved.
Yeah, well, Tesla was also doing a roadster. Dan.
But you wrote
We
an
have yet to
article
see
about
that.
it, didn't you?
No,
Right?
I know, and it's a beautiful thing, right? It's a I think a coupe and a roadster, and it's a fantastic looking car. It's one of those few cars that, if everything goes as planned, it's going to look just like the production car is going to look a lot like the concept car. So think like, when the Audi TT came out, and like, oh, damn, that actually looks quite a lot like the concept car or the original Boxster or whatever. And this is a car that really does look exceptional, and I think will stay true to the concept, but we'll see. I mean, it's also a $200,000 car, so I don't think any lease deal is going to be good enough to put that in my garage. But yeah,
Well, and it's not really a
strange days.
family. It's not really a family car, so you're off the hook for a few years
Yeah.
in terms of like, Ryan, why haven't you put your money where your mouth is?
Yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah, I don't know. And maybe if the company goes out of business, at least here in the States, maybe we'll be able to keep the car very, very inexpensively too. And maybe we'll have this Polestar for a long time. Won't be able to service the damn thing.
right,
I'll be up poking at it with a Phillips head screwdriver up in my lift here, trying not to get
it'll be the
electrocuted.
next Fisker Ocean. Where do we take it though?
Oh man.
Well,
Did you
hopefully
s-
not.
Did you see who's the guy that does that? Rich Rebuilds on YouTube. He just got a free Fisker Ocean and was able to fix it with a new key for $20. At least that's the clickbaity title, whatever. Would you take a free Fisker Ocean, either of you?
Yes,
Free. Okay.
yes, if it's
Yeah.
free,
Yeah.
I
because
think I would. And sorry, Lindsay, go on.
no, I mean, I feel like that's one of those things where if it's free, obviously you pay insurance and that kind of thing, and like for as long as it runs, and if
Yeah.
ideally, obviously, if something happens, you're able to figure out some kind of a solution for a fair amount of time. But
Yeah.
I think that's one of those things that you just do for the sake of the plot. You're like, wait, you're going to
Be good for
give
the
me
show.
a Fisker Ocean, right?
Let's all
Like,
get one.
right. Like for the podcast, for my life, you're just
Yeah.
like, that's one of those stories of like, yeah, somebody handed me this car. So here we are. Like, why would you say no, really? Because
Well,
if it breaks and it's unrecoverable,
yeah.
like, okay, you didn't pay for it. It's not like you're
Yeah.
losing a bunch of
Yeah.
money and you got to enjoy it for as long as you got to enjoy it. And,
Yeah,
the
see,
whole
Dan's
Fisker
gears.
story, like, is such an up and down story, and you
Yeah.
get to be a
Yeah.
tiny part of it and enjoy one of their products for as long as it works. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so Dan, what would you say?
I was saying I think you'd strip it for spares and put them all on eBay.
Well, people are going to need them.
Yeah.
Right?
Or you could turn the seats into like a desk or a sofa or something.
Oh, that's true.
Upcycle it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so that's what I would do. I would take it, drive it for as long as it worked, then part it out, and possibly create the world's first Fisker Ocean love seat.
That's what I wouldn't feel bad about. I always like cry a little bit on the inside whenever I see like a really good car that's turned into one of those, right?
Yeah.
But
Or like something
Fisker,
that's rare. There aren't that many examples, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, and you cut it in half to make, yeah,
Crimean Ocean. Okay.
right, exactly, yeah. Well, so Dan, you mentioned that you had seen an interesting Top Gear episode since we last all were together, and I wondered if you could share a little bit about that because I'm very curious what the result was. Who was the winner? So take it away.
Yeah, this was kind of, I guess, on the back of. It sounds like some of our friends in England may be doing an SUV who have never done an SUV before.
That's correct.
I'm talking about the Formula One World Champions, and apparently next year is there's an SUV coming that's going to be a hybrid. But that led me down a bit of a rabbit hole, and Tom Ford, who is a famous Top Gear presenter, he did a
Not to
video.
be confused with the designer Tom Ford.
That's right, the guy who makes the handbags.
Right.
It's not the handbags Tom Ford. It's the other Tom Ford, whose nickname is Wookie, which is super weird because when you get emails from him that just says Wooks, and you're like, how do I respond to that, dear Mr. Wooks? Yeah, he took a Ferrari Pro Sangue and he took an Aston Martin DBX S. So the DBX S is the newest Aston Martin, which basically is quicker than the 707. So it's up from the 707 in terms of power and stuff. And he went to the UK's narrowest and steepest road and pitted them against each other. And I would encourage everyone to watch the video, so I won't give too much away. But the interesting things for me were the Ferrari has a suspension from Multimatic. Now, if you guys are familiar with Multimatic, what else have they worked on?
They worked on the Mustang GTD.
Yes. So it's interesting that the Italians are now working with the Canadians to get the best possible suspension. But he was raving about that. He was less raving about the options list on the Ferrari. Because I think there was something like $135,000 of options.
Yeah, and that's just obscene.
I mean, I get it was a press car.
Yeah.
And then he was raving about the usability of the Aston, the fact it's got a decent sized trunk. Watch the video because the Ferrari does a really cool thing with its back seats. So if you want to put the back seats down, you can, but it looks really cool. And watch the video for the net result. But yeah, I think McLaren, if they go into that market, I've said it, whoops. McLaren, if they go into that market, then they've got some very stiff competition to go up against.
Interesting.
Well, and that, yeah, like you said, they've announced their models for the next few years, I think, and one of them is going to be a four-door sedan. Is it? So
which
McLaren.
I thought it was an SUV.
Oh, is it? Okay, four-door SUV. So
Yeah.
either way, I think the question stands either way. Would either of you be interested in a four-door McLaren sedan or a four-door McLaren SUV? Ryan, what do you think?
No, not really. Not really.
In a
I
word,
do love McLaren. I love their cars. Don't know if I'd buy one of the sports cars either, but
We need to create a list, don't we, of things that is better to have a friend own than we own.
There you
So we've
go.
got boats, we've got SUVs, we've got McLaren.
yeah.
Right.
What's
What
up,
else?
Brendan?
Right, an off-road vehicle, a boat, McLaren. Yeah, we'll just keep it's a living
Cabin in
document.
the
We'll just
mountains.
keep,
Yeah. all
we'll
those
just keep
things.
adding to the list. Yeah. But Dan, what do you think? Would you be interested in a McLaren SUV?
I would love, I've never driven a McLaren. I'd love to drive a McLaren. Everyone raves about the driving. I hope that the build quality's got better.
Yeah.
Because I think early on, like it used to be, I don't think it's the case anymore. It used to be that there was a stat that said that McLaren customers, less than 5% bought a second McLaren.
Ooh,
Can you
Really?
believe that?
that's.
I mean, I do. I feel
Yeah.
like
that's wild. Wow.
But I think that's got better.
Yeah.
It's like 7%. No, I don't know the numbers, but I think the quality's got better.
6, 7. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a 50%
My
gain.
daughter's cringing from across
Right.
the
I
house.
was
Yeah.
gonna say, Ryan, you're so hip. See, we can hang with the young people.
Pretty sad, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah. Would you guys? You just know it's a no.
I mean, it would not with my own money. I'd take
No.
one.
Right, again.
That and a Fisker Ocean.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's our other living list. Is like, what would you take if somebody's handing you a free one?
yeah,
Sure,
yeah,
McLaren SUV,
yeah,
Fisker Ocean.
Not drawing any analogs, just for the record.
No.
No, yeah. Well, and it sounds like it's since it's a list of two, it's which SUVs would you accept if someone is handing them to you?
Yeah.
Those are the two. But speaking of twos, I have been having a funny experience since Car Week, and I don't know if this has happened to you guys, but I find myself, I'm moving through the world with sort of like two-car solution colored glasses on unexpectedly. And it started at the Zinger party at Car Week when I happened to go out to the car park, and Matt Farah's beautiful Myers-Banks was out there, the beautiful blue, right next to a GT40 that was almost a matching blue. And I went, oh my gosh, that would be a really funny two-car solution. Like, what if that was your garage? What would that look like? What would that feel like? And ever since then, I've started to see pairs of cars together. And I'm like, well, that's an interesting two-car solution, because I feel like that's such a catch-all in the car community, is everybody goes like, okay, but what's your two-car solution?
Yeah.
So I wanted to start with, Dan, what is your, like, in a perfect world, what is your ideal two-car solution? And then are there any funny ones that you've seen when you're out and about lately?
Yeah, I think two-car solution is something for the weekend and something for the week.
Yeah.
So maybe a Singer for the weekend.
Oh, there we go.
Then I want to say McLaren F1. So maybe a Singer for the week and a McLaren F1 for the
There you go.
weekend.
There you
Right.
go.
Well,
Yeah.
that's along the lines of like a Myers-Manx and a GT40. It's like, yeah, hey, it doesn't have to be practical. It has
Yeah.
to be fun, and you have to love it. So I love that idea.
Yeah.
And so have you seen any funny pairings out and about?
I'm just trying to think what was on the stand. So I went to one of the detail company's stands,
Yeah.
and they had an S2000 from Fast and Furious, and then they had a Busy Moto 935 electric. That was
Oh,
on the Sonic stand. So that would be a very cool two-car solution.
Sure, for sure.
yeah, it would. That would be really unique. I know.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting because you go, okay, could you do daily life if you had these two things? What would that look like? And I mean, I'm game to find out, you know? So, Ryan, what's your ideal two-car solution? And have you seen any funny pairings lately?
Yeah, let's do a two-door Cabrio G-Wagon like Doug DeMuro.
Oh, yeah.
And GT3 Touring. That would be really all I would need. Those two cars, especially if I was living in some wonderful place like Southern California. I think that'd be kind of ideal. Funny two pairing cars. There is someone in the neighborhood that has like an old, like a 47 Chevy pickup truck, and also has a 930 Turbo. And those are the only two cars I've ever seen at that house. And
Wow.
yeah, one of them gets street parked, the other gets parked under a portico. I'm not quite sure what's in the garage, but those are the only two cars I've seen. And he seems to be, or she seems to be doing okay with those two. So
I love that.
the 930 has a handicap placard on it too. So
Wow.
So we have so many
extra.
questions.
I know.
You need to become friends with that guy or lady.
I
Yeah,
didn't want to say it.
right. You're
I
like,
want to wash the car occasionally.
That's
Right.
right. That's
I
right.
just, yeah.
Yeah.
as a matter of
yeah.
fact, that is me walking back and forth in front of your house.
Oh, I love your car.
Yeah. Well, those are both
Interesting.
really good combos.
Yeah, I think so. What about you?
So the one I saw another one today, and this is what reminded me of kind of, I keep seeing these pairings. The one I saw this morning was an ID Buzz and then a 718 Boxster S. And I was like,
Okay.
well, those are like, again, could be and really either of those could be the weekend car or the
Sure.
daily. So you could live a lot of life with those two. And then, I actually saw a Nissan Murano convertible in this beautiful sort of like sea green metallic unicorn color, where I was just like, this is amazing. And there was a replica vintage MG right next to it. And I'm like,
okay.
all right, what would life look like if that was your garage?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So there's some, and then I saw a Saturn Vue and an Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra parked together in a driveway the other day. And I was like, boy, that's a blast from the past.
That was a good two-car solution for someone at one time. Yeah.
Right. And it's, again, you look like your neighbor with the questions. I'm like, that was a two-car solution of a certain time period.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
is currently for these people. So,
yeah.
Also interesting.
There's a whole new bingo game you can create.
That's-
So you pull
Right.
together all those combos, and then the kids are in the
Nice.
car for hours trying to find the combos.
Yes. Porsche car bingo, right? There's a 924S, right? I mean, I never thought I'd see one of those, right?
Yeah.
Then in
Yeah.
the center square, you've got a GT3 because those are everywhere now, right?
Yeah.
But
That's how
I
you
think we
win.
got
They're like,
onto
yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know. Well, and I think my favorite actually is one that I didn't see, but someone sent to me. There was a high performance driving event out at Willow Springs last weekend, and I got a picture from the hotel parking lot in the morning, and it was these two, and I think they're like 90s era single cab lowered short bed Chevy pickups, both in insanely bright pink, different pinks, parked right next to each other. I'm like, I mean,
stick
you
together.
commit to the bit, right?
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
the
yeah.
Barbie lifestyle. So anyway, so it kind of makes your drives interesting as you're, going through your day. You go like, all right, what if that was my garage? And it's
Yeah,
sort of,
yeah, yeah,
we're all
yeah.
out and about, and it sort of adds a little fun to your drives, even if it's just, running errands. But I thought it was really fun the other day when we did the hopped in the DeLorean for a little time capsule action.
We stole the
And
DeLorean, didn't we?
we did, but we kept our ability to time travel, apparently. So this week, I thought we could chat about a brand that is near and dear to my heart, Ford, of course. So, same
If you didn't
premise.
know.
Right. For those of us just tuning in now. So the premise is if you could go back to any time period in the Ford manufacturing, all of the products, where would you go? Like, what do you feel like is peak Ford? And Ryan, I would love to hear your answer first.
Well, Lindsay, asking me about my favorite Ford year is a little like asking me about ham radios or my favorite Harry Potter book, because I have no real experience with any of these things.
There we
I
go.
didn't grow up with Fords. I've never owned a Ford. I don't know that I ever will own a Ford. That
Oh,
said,
shots fired, huh?
That said, I love me a Ford GT of any vintage. I think 2005 would be a really good year to go back in time and pick one of those up when they were being sold at a discount. And I do have a thing for the 5.0 LX Fox body Mustangs. Give me a final year, Fox body LX trim, cloth seats, manual. That'd be pretty fantastic. 65 GT350 would be fantastic, right? I mean, these are just
Yeah.
so good. I think that's a car that transcends, right? Find me a Porsche person who doesn't like one of those. They're just so good. But for someone who's not a Ford guy, and I should say, I have absolutely nothing against Fords. I just don't have any experience with them. I guess take me at 88 miles an hour to 1992, because when I think of Ford, it's the Ford lineup from that era that just says Ford to me. So some highlights of 1992 are the aforementioned Fox bodies. I think 93 was the last year of those, right? They were starting to transition into that next gen. You could also get the new Crown Vic, a car that was made for 20 goddamn years, and one that you can still occasionally see in police fleets, especially in California.
Right.
13 years after the last one rolled off the assembly line. You could get the Aerostar that year. AKA the space shuttle on wheels. You could get the
Right.
big boy Bronco too. I think that was the 5th generation that had just come out that year, right?
Yep.
92. The F Series was at the top of its game, and it was still something the Marlboro man would drive, right? I mean, it just had that sort of vibe. The OG Probe, right? Not the
I was going to
Mazda
say the
Probe,
probe
or
was in there.
I mean, I guess they were both Mazda Probes. That was right there. I think that came on 88 or 89, so that was still lurking around, tempting the Appalachian enthusiasts on a budget, I guess. What else was it?
Well, there was a Taurus. They
The
still had
Taurus,
the
the
Taurus.
show, the SHO, right?
Yeah.
And that was the facelifted one, like Conan O'Brien drove, used to drive.
Right.
The Tempo was a car that was
It
available
was.
in 92.
The
And
Tempo was also there. Yeah.
the Thunderbird, the personal luxury car.
Yep.
And you know what? All of these models shared one thing in common. It was that same stupid little Ford radio with the little chiclet buttons. Every single one of those cars had the same radio. So I think that's why 1992 is peak Ford for me.
There we go.
Dan?
That's an amazing
Lindsay?
answer. Yeah. Dan, you're up next.
Prove me
Your
wrong.
thoughts.
That. So actually, it's 2 years later.
Okay.
So it's kind of
Interesting.
94-ish. This is peak Clarkson. Clarkson is still quite young looking, and he's got this massive bouffant of big hair. And Ford have given him for a year a Ford Escort Cosworth.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
you had a different.
We had different Fords in the UK, which is why I think I've got more of a love than maybe you have, Ryan,
Sure.
for the Mark. So we had in the 80s, you had Group B, which was all about whatever the rules were, you would interpret them to whatever, and the RS 200 came. But then when the Cosworth, the Escort Cosworth came, it wasn't even an Escort; it was a Sierra, because they had to take the body length and make it an all-wheel drive car for rallying, Group A. So so this was a This was a beautiful little car with a big spoiler on the back. It had all-wheel drive. It had a legendary Cosworth badge on the back, and you'd have it in like a mallard green or something like that.
Nice.
So that would be for me. That would be peak. And I think they started in '92, but '94 was when they kind of got to perfection.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good. I mean, I was thinking it's interesting that you both went very similar time periods, but such different answers and such different, experiences with the brand because of growing up in different countries.
Well, and Lindsay, you grew up with Ford, so this is gonna.
I did.
This is the answer I'm really curious about because
Lindsay has
Ford.
a Ford tattoo. Fact.
That's right.
I really went back and forth because of I've had personal experience with so many different models of the brand, but I kind of went back to my perspective on the Porsche answer with picking kind of an epic moment in the brand's history. And so I would want to go back to the Shelby era of Ford, so mid 60s, 64, 65, 66, when that program was coming together with the Mustangs and the Cobras. And I realize, the purists would argue that might not be, you could argue it's not Ford, but listen, it was integral to the program. They were working together closely at that point. And I feel like there were so many historical moments. We were just talking to Robert Nagel about the Le Mans races where they raced the GT40s. And I feel like that era of the company, you still there's so many stories that came out of that, so many prominent figures in automotive, Pete Brock and Ken Miles and Carroll Shelby, and all of that was there's just so many stories and big moments and really shaped the history of the company, even to the point when I was at the GTD reveal a couple of years ago, when Jim Farley was introducing the car, he talked about, even in 2023, he said, we're turning away from Shelby, but it's not we still love Shelby, and that's been such a part of the company. This is a new direction from us that we're really excited about. And yeah, that's not about Shelby, but also he's still in the discussion, or those cars are still in the discussion even now. So I think it would be really, really interesting to get an in-person window into what that time period was like, and all of those discussions, and be there when those cars were being developed. So surprising no one. That's my answer.
No, that's a great answer. I think I've seen a picture of a transporter, a race transporter from that era, just filled with all those great cars, right? And I want to go back and just drive that whole thing back.
So I'm pretty sure one of our family friends drove that transporter.
Of course. That's awesome.
Yeah. We have a good family friend who his job, he was one of the original Shelby employees, and ultimately he was hired to do, and I don't know, I think it was I may be misspeaking, but I think it was a type of a publicity tour.
Yeah.
And he drove the big rigs, and they transported the cars around the US. And there were, I think, maybe 3 big rigs that did that, but he was one of them. And that's, I think all those guys have such amazing stories. So to get to be in that moment for a little bit would be pretty
magical.
Epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Died in the wool, Ford person, we blew, all that. I think you couldn't have chosen another year, really, right?
Right. I know. I was like, okay, do I go back to 85? Because that's when the Bronco that I learned to drive was made. It was much older when I learned to drive in it, obviously, for those trying to do the math. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. A little disappointed neither one of you said 1908 when the Model T was brought to the market.
We didn't want to steal your thunder because we thought, considering you share the same birthday.
Right. We were hoping you'd share some personal stories from the time. But
I came up with a Model 8, kids. By the way, happy birthday, Dan. I think it was just your birthday. I think you were, I think you might be 2 rotations around the sun.
Behind you?
Ryan. I'm, yes, getting closer towards Ryan's age and nowhere near Lindsay.
By the way, that's the best part about aging, right? You never catch up, right? You're always going to be that.
You're like, I'm just going to pause here and wait for you guys.
That's right.
I think you go backwards after 30, don't you?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's right. For what it's worth, Dan, I don't see any white in your beard stubble there, so I think you're
There we
good.
go.
Yeah,
It's
you
amazing what
might
you can
be
do
aging
with dye,
backwards.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
that British Constitution.
Yeah. But we hope you had an amazing birthday.
Yeah.
And
Thank you very much. That
happy
was
birthday
Universal
from
Studios.
Yeah,
that's a good way to celebrate.
absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's it for this week, you guys. Unless we have any other pressing topics that have
I'm excited
to
about
mind.
next week.
Yeah, I know we have
I
the
think
auto show coming up, and we get
so
to see each other in person.
Yeah.
we'll be in LA.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're at the show, come say hello.
Please do.
That's right.
We'll be there on the Thursday, which is the press day.
Yeah.
We'll be joined by our good friend Jorge Aquino.
Yes.
We'll also be joined by Michael Lasasso, who is the business behind this podcast and doesn't always get the front of house. But he'll be with us as well. So it should be a great few days, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. And I've been promised a delicious Mexican meal. So
Well,
Dan,
I
are
don't know
you-
who's recommended it because I haven't.
I was going to say, are you cooking, Dan?
El Taco Bello or something.
which you've never actually eaten
Which
at,
I've
if my
never
memory serves me.
Yes, never had a
correctly.
Taco Bell. And if I ever do have a Taco Bell, it's the one just outside San Francisco because there's one on the beach.
Oh, there you
Oh.
go. A
Just
cantina.
to the
Right?
west of San Francisco.
Yeah, I think they
Wait,
serve
do
alcohol.
they still
So
have
the-
one of the cantinas is still open?
I think so. And that's the only Taco Bell I'll ever have.
Well, I mean, authentic it's not, but it is part of the fabric of Southern
Convenient.
California. Yeah.
Cheap.
Ground beef came
Convenient.
right from the ocean. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
triangle of cuisine. You can either have it authentic, cheap, or convenient, but you can't
Right.
have all three.
No. Yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
for all of us here at That Car Show, thank you so much for joining us this week. And thank you guys. It was great to be all together as a crew. And so thank you to all of our listeners. Drop us a line and let Ryan know if there are any spots that he needs to stop on his road trip to take pictures with the Genesis. Let us know
The
what
snarkier, the better.
Right. Yeah. The weirder, the more Ryan's daughter will roll her eyes. Those are the suggestions we're looking for. If you have seen any unusual or unique or funny two-car pairings, let us know that. And wish Dan a happy birthday. Thank you so much for joining us this week. And until next week, we are That Car Show. And remember, always be driving.